Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's come to the time of the evening for the speeches. First to speak, Father of the Bride, Mr. Martin Axton. Thank you.
I don't want to bore you all yet. Right. Together. Right, well, firstly, Sue and I are absolutely delighted to see you all here today to celebrate Claire and Paul's wedding day. Thank you very much indeed. Claire, as you can appreciate, is very precious to us, and we are so pleased to see her looking so radiantly happy today. We are certainly not losing though a daughter, but gaining a son-in-law who I know loves Claire deeply. Thank you, Paul. So welcome to the family, Paul. A very warm welcome to John and Sonia. Thank you very much indeed for all your help and support leading on to this very happy event today. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, a very warm welcome to all our friends and family here today. Thank you very much indeed for coming and enjoying this special day with us all. Thank you very much indeed. Before I go any further, I'd like just to mention all the absent family and friends who, for whatever reason, cannot be with us today. Could you please raise your glasses to all our absent friends and family, please? Thank you very much indeed. Right, I want to start by telling you a bit of a story. Do you like stories? Yeah. I thought you would. Well, a very strange thing happened to me last October. My dear wife came in to see me and said, "Martin, when are you next going to a Southampton football match?" And I said, "Why are you asking?" Well, she said, "Paul would like to come with you." And I thought, oh wow, Paul coming with us, that would be a fantastic event. And I thought to myself, why would Paul want to come? Now, I am a dedicated, die-hard Southampton supporter, and been so since 1958. However, I learnt, I'm shocked to hear this, that Paul has his allegiances elsewhere, to another football club called Portsmouth. I'm afraid so. So you can understand my concern, can't you? So I said to Sue, okay, well if Paul wants to come with me, I'm happy to help his education. I'm happy to show him potential Premiership football. But I was a little bit concerned and worried about poor Paul, having to sit on those terraces to hear, "Top of the league, we're having a laugh," and "We hate Pompey, we hate Pompey," all the way through the game. And I thought to myself, how could Paul not respond to that? It took a lot of self-sacrifice, I must admit. But anyway, Paul decided to come with us. And we're walking towards the game, and suddenly Paul says to me, Martin, would you like a drink before the game? And I looked at my watch and I said, well, I'm sorry, Paul, we haven't really got enough time for a drink before the game. So why don't we go into the game? Okay, so we went into the game and we started to watch it, and all Saints are winning, and it's fantastic celebrations. And my big concern was, if we score a goal, what's Paul going to do? Is he going to sit there and everyone say, you're a Portsmouth supporter? No, luckily, in fact, we didn't score many goals. I remember. Unusual for Southampton, of course. But anyway, we got to half-time safely, I'm delighted to say. Paul says to me, would you like to come for a drink? I said, oh no, I better not, Paul. My wife has made me a flask of coffee. And if I go home with it, I'll get into trouble. So why don't we have a coffee? So Paul said, no, I don't want a coffee. I want a drink. I said, okay, Paul, go and get a drink. So anyway, so Paul comes back with his drink of beer, and we sit there watching the rest of the game. And we're enjoying the match, and of course Southampton are winning as usual, really. And a few minutes before the game finishes, I say to Paul, I think we should go back now. We don't want to get sort of crushed with the crowd. Why don't we go on back? So I don't fine. Paul said yes. And we're walking on back, striding along. And just as we get to the car park, where we parked our car, Paul says to me, Martin, I said, yes, Paul. Could I ask you a question? Yes, Paul, of course you can ask me a question. He then says to me, could I marry Claire? And I said, Paul, not losing a step, of course, as I'm marching on. Do you love Claire, Paul? And Paul said, yes, I do love Claire. And I said, well, of course you can marry Claire, I said. And we got back to the car park and we shook hands. And Paul went back home. But that's not the end of the story. Because I had to get home. And I'm thinking to myself, this is being set up for me. I'm going home and I'm going to see my dear wife. And what's she going to say to me? So I open the door and my wife comes out to me. Well, what's the news? I said, well, we won. What else do you want? No, what did Paul ask you? And I said, well, Paul asked me if he could marry Claire. And I said, yes. And that's the end of the story. Right. So, in doing some preparation, actually I've done a bit of preparation for my father the bride speech, I came across this wonderful line, which says, the brain is a wonderful thing. Never stops working until, yes, you guessed it, you make a speech. So with that in mind, I've got a few notes to refer to. Hope you don't mind as I go through this today. So, family and friends, and you son-in-law Paul, I'd love to share a few memories of Claire's early life and why she's so special to us. From the moment Claire was born, I have to say, had there been a prize for the perfect daughter, Claire would have won first prize. She's a fantastic girl in every single way. Miss Claire Elizabeth Axton made her entrance into the world the last few minutes of the 11th of May 1981 at the aptly named Shrubbery in High Wycombe as a maternity unit. Assistant to elder brother Nick, who probably at the time would have preferred a football. Is that right, Nick? Yeah. He would have preferred a football, sorry for that, at that time. But a special bond grew between brother and sister from that moment onwards. From being a very annoying brother, nicking her toys every moment, through to being a demon dancer on the night spots of Boscombe and Bournemouth, in their teens, to what they shared together today. Claire was always a very happy and contented baby, and a joy to us all. And in particular to Sue's parents, Claire's very dear nan and granddad, Harold Mann, who from that moment became such an important part of her life. Claire had fun at playgroups before starting school, and even at such an early age, the seeds of her career were being sown. Early favourite games were playing post offices, She used to enjoy going with Sue to the bank and writing out her own pay-in slips. She had thoughts of being a teacher, cooking on her favourite a la carte kitchen, which we bought her for a Christmas present, and of course keeping her doll's house in order. But most of all, dancing at every opportunity. There was certainly a career woman in the making who just loved to dance. Now, some of you may be aware of Claire's renewed interest in cycling. Now, I want to tell you a story here. About Claire to begin with when she was very, very young. Picture that grand moment when your child goes off on their bike for the first time. Well, I'm sure we've all experienced this, haven't we? So off was Claire. I'm off, Mum, I'm off, Dad, I'm off on my bike, off I go, cycling along the promenade. Suddenly there's an almighty crash. And she comes off her bike and she hits a poor pedestrian. So that was her first experience. So taking a tumble off a bike became a pretty regular occurrence for Claire. So grazed knees, cuts and bruises became a feature of those early years. I'm sure you can sympathise there, Paul. Family bike rides were enjoyed, although squeaky brakes, that unattractive white cycle helmet that Mum always insisted you wore, Claire, which she absolutely hated, that safety-minded parents tried to encourage, did not go down well for Claire, did it? No. So well done, Paul, for getting Claire back on a bike. Just shows what love, a smarter helmet and a can of oil can do. Claire loved to swim from an early age, in the paddling pool in the garden to playing in the sea. Loving the sun, the fun with Nick, and an inflatable dinghy. Do you remember the dinghy, Nick? Yeah. Okay. However, those safety-conscious parents would insist on towing the boat through the waves on a long piece of rope.
Was it long?
All the time.
That's 6 foot.
So I'm just wondering, Paul, if those early experiences with boats and ropes had any connection, a quote here please, to the Italian speedboat anchor incident, okay, during a holiday in Sorrento, when I understand that an anchor was cast into the sea before anyone realised that that rope had not been attached to either the anchor or the boat, and caused Paul to dive over the side to recover the anchor. Am I right, Paul?
You are right.
Am I? Okay.
It's also in my speech. Sorry.
Okay. So, in preparing the father and the bride speech, fathers take great enjoyment in looking through old school reports. Now, I don't know about you, but I look at my children's old school reports. But my dear wife has kept every single one. And we've been through them all together and had enormous fun going through them. Looking through Claire's has been absolutely fantastic. Anyone who knows Claire will not be surprised to hear Claire was always a very happy and enthusiastic student. Trying her hardest and always a great team player. Claire loved school, especially Highcliffe Junior School, making firm friends, enjoying sports, swimming, making team captain as you were, and working hard on those dreaded spellings and getting to grips with maths. Where's David? Who's up there? David, getting to grips. She is trying. She's doing a bit better now. Okay. One lovely phrase I came across from one teacher. Claire writes very freely and is quite uninhibited by spelling and punctuation conventions. Well, perhaps Claire would like to explain that. It's a bit confusing to me. I wonder, does that show that you're showing some promise in spelling? Oh. Anyway, always very popular, recalling one particular young admirer at junior school who tried to win a place in Claire's heart by kissing a piece of fruit in her lunchbox. Just wondering if you've given that one a try yet, Paul. Make a note of it. Fruit in lunchbox. Okay, moving to Highcliffe Comp at the age of 11, Claire continued to enjoy school, noticing in an early report on a project in maths on ice cream. Know that one? Getting a photo in the school prospectus playing cricket enjoying netball and hockey, but hating getting muddy in the cross-country rounds. Is that right? Attendance was always excellent. I wonder why. This is thanks partly to Sue's well-used phrase, take some tissues and some throat sweets, and let's see how you get on, when you're feeling a bit less than 100%. Another highlight was surviving the Duke of Edinburgh's Bronze Award in the New Forest. Remember that, Claire? I do. Claire rounded off her school career at Highcliffe with some excellent exam results and the much anticipated event, the Leavers Ball. Whilst at the junior school, Claire tried the violin and then the piano and became a brownie for a while. But it was to be dancing that was Claire's real love. Ballet, tap and modern classes, often 4 days a week, took up most of Claire's time, and Sue's time as well, when running her around in freshwater taxis. Successfully passing all her grade exams and taking part in school shows, with parents and grandparents usually managing to secure the front row of seats, much to Claire's increasing embarrassment. A few highlights for Claire were Captain Hook. Unfortunately, the moustache never stayed on, did it? Imagining you were Olivia Newton-John in Grease Lightning, I believe, was another one, and doing the can-can. Although also those very famous Christmas parties that we used to have every year, when Claire used to get a microphone and mime to Tina Turner and Kylie's hits, in particular The Locomotion, as I remember, Claire. And of course, you were accompanied by Nick on the famous tennis racket guitar. So well done, Nick, for accompanying Claire there. Alongside working for exams at school and fitting in dancing, Claire began a series of part-time jobs. Having taken a life-saving qualification, Claire worked as a lifeguard at a local holiday park. She became an expert building soft ice creams at a local beach cafe. Must be that maths project again, Claire, I think. And was a chambermaid at nothing less than the Chewton Glen Hotel, the world's top hotel. And she happened to be a chambermaid there. Then at weekend, working for Next as a sales assistant, fondly remembering those 5 a.m. opening times on sales day. A big thank you once again to Sue and Freshwater Taxis. 2 busy years at St. Peter's followed by trips to Prague and Switzerland, and successfully passing 3 A-levels. Learning to drive and passing her driving test was Claire's next objective. A little Vauxhall Nova was purchased as your first car. Driving lessons went very well. Cool and calm, Claire's pre-test lesson going smoothly until all the electrics failed in the driving school car, mid-junction in a busy sport and form, if I understand. So that longed-for first-time test took a little longer to come, but it was soon in the bag. Claire loved the independence of having your own car, but a sense of direction was not always Claire's best attribute. And now I'm going to recount this story to you, Claire, and you've heard it quite a few times. I'm going to tell people again. Remembering the Duke of Edinburgh's expedition, Claire's first long car journey was for a week in Devon. We had arranged to meet him in a pub car park on the A38. After waiting quite a long time, trying not to get too worried in those pre-mobile phone days, when a pub employee tapped on our car window to say, "Someone called Claire's on the phone." Having taken a wrong turn, and she appeared about an hour away in the opposite direction. So I'm just wondering if that idea of a sat-nav did eventually turn up on your wedding list, Paul. Claire, ever keen for independence and thinking of a university, selected Bristol. Moving-in day came, emotional farewells made, car packed to capacity. We drove to Bristol city centre. Looking back on it, perhaps the discovery of a car parking ticket on my car when we returned to the vehicle was perhaps not the best sign things were going to go right in Bristol. Claire realising almost immediately that Bristol was definitely not for her, and that getting a job and getting on with life was what she really wanted. So exactly a week later, we were back in Bristol, taking Claire home. Next in Bournemouth, we're delighted to welcome her back. Another A-level was studied, and the following year a visit to Leeds University was made. But when Claire secured her first full-time job with Wicked Colours, a small PR company in Bournemouth, this was the perfect solution for you. A Christmas bonus shopping weekend in New York for Claire and colleague soon highlighted that ability to always give 100% in everything she does. I know Claire has always been a valued, hard-working and loyal employee wherever she has been, making long-lasting friendships and, of course, meeting Paul along the way. To bring Claire's story completely up to date, 3 years ago, Claire fulfilled a lifetime ambition to study at the Royal Academy of Dance in London, to enable her to teach ballet. Claire embarked on the course alongside a busy and demanding job, successfully completing all her assignments, her teaching practice and attending assessment weeks, proudly receiving a diploma in July 2011 at the Royal Academy Awards ceremony, at which Sue and I attended. A real achievement and another testament to Claire's hard work. This continually demonstrates, Claire, your total commitment in everything you do. Mum and I am very, very proud of you. Since last year, when Claire's brother Nick was married, we have been in the amazing situation of having 2 Claire Axtons in the family. A Miss and a Mrs. Claire Axton, to be exact. To try to avoid confusion, Sue and I have got used to saying, our Claire and Nick's Claire. That will perhaps always be the case, but I'm sure from today, Miss Claire Axton has become Mrs. Claire David, and she and Paul are starting their life together. And Sue and I wish them every happiness as a Mr. and Mrs. in the future. Being a Portsmouth supporter is, as you can imagine, to a lifelong Southampton supporter, a slight bone of contention. Only slightly, of course, I must emphasise that. So, Paul, how about a few more trips to St Mary's in the future?
Lovely.
So, in conclusion, everyone, as extremely proud for our father, the bride, it just falls upon me to wish them both good health, good luck, and much deserved happiness, and of course, all the love in the world from Sue and I. May I please ask you all to stand up, please, and join with me in a toast to the bride. Thank you very much.
It's okay, I've got it.
Okay, I'd now like to introduce the groom.
Thank you, Martin. To be honest, you did a brilliant job. I really don't fancy following you after that. But I will. So, ladies and gentlemen, my wife and I, we'd like to thank everyone for being here. Has everyone met my wife? She looks stunning. I met Claire at work, a marketing agency in Southampton. She had an amazing sense of calm and control, and a confidence that I've always admired. Our working relationship was dynamic. Claire used to set deadlines. I used to miss them. But she didn't seem to mind that much. She would just take it in her stride, and we always made a formidable team. And then one day, we discovered that maybe our shared passion was more than digital strategy. And since then, we've never looked back. Claire, you look stunning. Martin and Sue, not digital strategy. Martin and Sue, you have the most wonderful and unique daughter. And I know we both agree on this. but we don't always agree. Because although Martin has the most fantastic daughter, who I love dearly, his choice of football team leaves a lot to be desired. To be honest, I humour him. However, in order to demonstrate my love for his daughter, I made the ultimate sacrifice. To ask for his daughter's hand in marriage, I went with Martin to see Southampton play football. I use the term play loosely. This was a very nervous time for me, understandably. I'd been out with the best men the night before. I'm not entirely sure the 4 a.m. finish helped. Understandably, the football was dire. But Southampton won. Sun does shine on a dog's arse occasionally. Brilliant, I thought. That should make this request easier. In fact, asking Martin for his daughter's hand was easier than I'd imagined. Catching him when he was trying to beat the crowds, leaving the stadium, was the tricky bit. Martin and Sue, I would like to say thank you for making me feel very welcome from day one. I might bring this closer actually, it's miles away, I can't see. Despite clearly some misguided football allegiance, you are lovely people. And I feel very lucky to be part of your family. Now it's fair to say I'm not the most active Portsmouth fan. The most trivial fact surprises me. It's always been the banter I love. So when it came to choosing something for my wife to mark the occasion, I thought it was very important. Actually, would you mind holding this for a second? I thought it was very important to buy her something that matched her eyes. No. That matched her eyes. And to also up a little. Firmly established. Firmly established which team she is now playing for. Right, okay, so before I venture any further, I would like to start the toast proceedings. Martin and Sue, you are the most amazing couple. With a loving and happy marriage of 41 years, 42 years in October, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible. So my wife and I would like to propose a toast to thank you dearly for the love and support you have given us and this wonderful wedding celebration which couldn't have happened without your generosity. The first toast to Martin and Sue Axton.
Martin and Sue!
Thank you very much.
The second toast we would like to propose is for Sue Axton herself.
Yeah.
This woman absolutely amazes me with her love and generosity. The favours sitting in front of all the ladies here today are handmade by Sue Axton. The wedding cake is handmade by Sue Axton. The flowers in the centre of the table are concepted and delivered by Sue Axton. So our second toast is for Sue Axton for her wonderful support. Thank you very much, Sue. I would now like to move on to my parents, who have also been very generous in contributing to this wedding. My parents have had quite a year. Note to self, have a small family. So my parents have had 2 weddings in 2 months, and... That was a good one, you're right. 2 weddings in 2 months, and... a grandchild on the way. Hopefully not until after today. Mum and Dad, you are a glowing example of happiness and harmony in your marriage. Wait a second.
Go on.
Whew. And I guess you don't get much opportunity to publicly thank your parents. But, I might have a drink.
That's typical, that.
I've definitely presented you with a few challenges over the years. I hope the best men don't share too many of those. But you've been amazing parents, incredibly supportive, and created a fantastic and loving environment to grow up in. And I would like to thank you very much. And so, the next toast is to John and Sonia David. And,
Won't be a minute.
brilliant. In fact, we can probably bring both of them out at this point. Actually, would be great, I think. Just a little gift for both of the sets of parents. A rose bush. No worries. Right, so now on to the bridesmaids. So, bridesmaids, you have been fantastic. The support that you've given to Claire over the past few months has been amazing. The hen do you arranged with the Axton Bar, the Axton Spa, and a couple of strippers that were posing as catering staff. Thank you to my brothers-in-law. I would like to propose a toast to the bridesmaids. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Bridesmaids.
Nick and Luke, the ushers, and our brothers. Where is Luke? There he is. There's Nick. Brilliant. I've got him. Thank you for the support on this day. Nick, thank you for making me feel very welcome into your family. Nick also actually played a fundamental role in the local stag. He managed to get me home when I was having an intimate moment with some stinging nettles, and I was having various different arguments with my centre of gravity. So thank you for that, Nick, as well. And we'd like to propose a toast to the ushers. Thank you for your support.
The ushers.
And now, to the bride. I would now like to say thank you to my wife. Firstly, for organising this fantastic day. You've worked tirelessly to make a success. And secondly, for agreeing to marry me. You have made me incredibly happy. Now, Claire's introduced me to a lot of new things since we've known each other, one of which is her musical tastes. And I've got a quote that I'd like to share with you, which I thought was quite apt, whilst I came across while I was building our playlist. No regrets, just love. We can dance until we die. You and I will be young forever. Katy Perry, 2008. And in true accent style, there will be plenty of dancing this evening. There are flip-flops just next to the dance floor. So, anyone wearing inappropriate clothing? Sam, Ben, no problem, flip-flops. So as I said, Claire and I met at a marketing agency. So when it came to putting to words how I feel about Claire, I thought that maybe I would start with some famous marketing straplines, which go somewhere close to describing how I feel today. The real thing, Coca-Cola. Because you're worth it, L'Oreal. Be all that you can be, the United States Army. When it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight, Federal Express. Making tomorrow better, Oil and Natural Gas Commission, India. Love it for life, Danone yogurt. Power, beauty and soul, Aston Martin. And the last one, I'm loving it, McDonald's. So I am loving it now, but I wasn't loving it as much when I had to smuggle an engagement ring on a holiday with us. I was literally ready to drop to one knee at a moment's notice going through customs. I had the ring in the camera bag, and I spent the next week literally on edge. I couldn't let this camera bag out of my sight. Claire would say, I've just grabbed the camera. Or, I'll just grab the camera. Or, how about I just grab the camera? No, Claire, that is my camera. Hands off. What are you doing? I'm the only one who can touch this camera. The number of times was ridiculous, but she's so used to me being an idiot. She would just look at me and say, shall we get you some food? Yes. Yes, Claire, you're probably right. I think I do need some food. And in fact, food is one of our great passions. The table numbers here today symbolise our love of food. And some of our favourite places to go together from Winchester's fine array of pubs. Our favourite is by far a juicy sirloin in the tavern, followed by, or a roast, followed by an adventure, a walk or a bike ride around the local countryside, or even a picnic. But I won't go into the picnic, because Martin's already gone into it. So I'm going to leave that puppy right here. But, through everything, we enjoy life and laugh, and to finish, I would like to read a little poem dedicated to my wife. Every morning, she wakes me with a smile. She's never cross if I make her wait a while. I'm always late, and she's on time. She'll ring and check that my day's gone fine. She's never closed to new ideas, a caring hug for those with tears. She's patient and loving with each new day. Confident yet sensitive is her way. Friends and family, her number one. She loves to dance and beg for fun. She's always time to listen, and she never shies away. She loves the morning glisten of the water in the bay. And on the 1st of September, we walk down the aisle. An amazing woman, class, grace and style. The new Mrs. David, she makes my heart smile. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. D! I'm not quite done yet, because I haven't introduced my best men. And I think anyone that has 3 best men needs to really explain why you would do that. So, to have 3 best men is undoubtedly greedy. But as well as being greedy, I'm also immensely lucky. I have 3 great friends that have stuck through me with good times and the bad. Mike and I have been getting in trouble for 20 years. Tom has been generally getting us out of trouble for 20 years. And Tristan, the Peters, a true legend. We've definitely shared some great highs and some lows. So the final toast is for my best men. While they lack in wisdom, they make up for in numerous other ways. And I feel truly honoured to call my closest and dearest friends. Final toast to the best men.
Hello? No, I've turned it down, don't worry. Just get in position and I'll turn you up. Do you want to put it on the stand? Yeah. Stand will probably collapse if you do it like that. I'll do it. Yeah. So just try and take one across it.
As you can see, there are some photos going around of Paul throughout various stages of his life. Hopefully they'll keep you entertained, because we're going to bore you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming today to help celebrate the marriage of Paul and Claire. I think you'll all agree it has been a wonderful day filled with fun, laughter and tears of joy. And we haven't even got to see Paul dance yet. Thanks must, of course, go to Martin and Sue and John and Sonia for not only helping to put on such a great day, but for raising 2 such fantastic people. So can we please stand, raise a glass and salute them. Now, on to the reason the 3 of us are standing here talking at you. Most people imagine that the best man speech is an opportunity for the best man, or men in this instance, to roast the groom in front of his friends and family, to regale embarrassing stories of his misdemeanours and failings. However, as the three of us were generally involved in these illicit activities in some way, we thought it best not to tarnish our own reputations by going into any details. Needless to say, like most young men, although judging by the amount of grey hair on Paul's head, young is a term that's becoming harder to believe, Paul's had his fun. In fact, so much fun that we are under strict instructions not to reveal certain skeletons in his closet. Which is odd, because I thought he'd be more concerned with us discussing the monsters he's had in his bed. But today is a day of celebration, and that is what we have focused on. And as there are three of us, we decided to split the speech up and focus on different periods of his life. I'm first. The first time I met Paul was in the student union at Portsmouth University. Neither of us had made it into the halls of residence, so we were invited to the Portsmouth Uni Secure a Home Day. It was good. It basically consists of thrusting 1,000 people into a room and telling them to find someone to live with. Standing in the corner was this wide-eyed, mop-headed young man wearing a Cranley Rugby Club hoodie. My initial thought was that he had borrowed the hoodie from a friend, because no right-minded rugby club would ever allow someone to play with chicken legs like those. But I overcame my doubts and went over for a chat. A couple of days later, and